that we may see better days ahead as we work hard to achieve the bagong Pilipinas we all aspire for. Amen.
Thank you, Acting Secretary Toledo. We may now be seated. Good morning. We are gathered here today for the signing of the General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026. May we invite the following personalities to please proceed in front and stand as witnesses as the President signs the General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026. Executive Secretary Ralph G. Recto, Secretary Frederick Digo, Acting Secretary Rolando U. Toledo, Secretary Arsenio M. Balisacan, Special Assistant to the President Antonio Ernesto F. Lagdameo Jr., Senate President Vicente C. Soto III, House Speaker Faustino G. D. III, Senator Sherwin T. Gatchalian, Senator Lauren B. Legarda, House Senior Deputy Speaker Ferdinand L. Hernandez, House Majority Leader Ferdinand Alexander A. Marcos, House Minority Leader Marcelino C. Libanan, Deputy Speaker Christine Singson Mihan, Representative Micaela B. Swansing, and Representative Albert S. Garcia. And now, may we invite the President to please proceed to the signing table. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026 is now signed by the President. Thank you, Mr. President. Witnesses, you may now take your seats. At this point, may we call on Executive Secretary Ralph G. Recto to introduce our keynote speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you very much to our Executive Secretary, Secretary Ralph Recto, for your kind introduction. And may I add, for all the work, please be seated. For all the work that you, amongst, of course, others, have put into finding a middle course between all the different forces that were impinging upon the budget. So that we must recognize. Also, the Senate President, Tito Soto, the honorable members of the Senate, who also put in many long hours and late nights. I was with you all the way, by the way, because although I wasn't there, I was harassing everybody on the telephone. Mika, what's happening? Sandro, what's happening? Tito Sen, what's happening? Ping, what's happening? So that's much appreciated. Of course, the House Speaker, Bojidi, the honorable members of the House of Representatives, Budget and Management Acting Secretary Rolando Toledo, the members of the cabinet who, although attempted to have a Christmas and New Year's holiday, were all on tenterhooks to see what the budget would actually come out as. That is how important the work that you have just done is. My fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The year 2025 tested our nation on many fronts. We experienced climate related disruptions, earthquakes, economic uncertainty, and the exposure of widespread corruption within our system. These challenges are painful, but they also made one thing clear: real change could no longer wait. And so, as we enter this year, let us take this opportunity to start moving forward with difficult but needed reforms in governance, to rebuild the trust in us, to strengthen accountability, deliver an honest and effective government to the Filipinos. We are at a critical juncture in the implementation of this administration's medium-term development plan and on the cusp of sweeping reforms in politics and in governance. The 2026 General Appropriations Act is a vital component in all of these. With the signing of Republic Act number 12314, or the General Appropriations Act of fiscal year 2026, we are committing to implement a budget that serves the people, totaling 6.793 trillion pesos. The national budget is aligned with our medium and long-term development plans and vision, reflecting our investment in the Filipino. We thank all members of Congress for the principled exercise of its power, of the purse, and for the meaningful reforms undertaken to widen participation, to strengthen accountability throughout the budget authorization process. And yet, the passage of the national budget is only the beginning, because today we commence with the most difficult task: to ensure the proper execution and instituting true accountability. The 2026 national budget shall sustain our momentum in education reform, in health protection, in food security, in social security, and in job creation. Education receives the highest allocation, amounting to over 1.34 trillion pesos. This shall support the creation of teaching, non-teaching plantilla positions in public schools and the promotion or reclassification of our teachers to ensure quality teaching and learning. This shall also fund the construction of classrooms nationwide. The 2026 GAA also has the largest health sector budget ever in the history of our country, 448.125 billion pesos, supporting our goal of promoting access to universal health care. This will ensure that quality and affordable health care is available to every Filipino. 1 billion pesos has also been allocated to the Department of Health's Universal Health Care Fund for this zero balance billing program in local government hospitals as well, covering inpatient services in basic accommodation. The budget also allocates resources for disease surveillance, rapid response mechanisms, and sustainable health financing. This budget further strengthens the PhilHealth with nearly 129.8 billion pesos, including the 60 billion pesos directed to be restored, aligned with the decision of the Supreme Court. These funds shall support preventive health care and the improvement of PhilHealth benefit packages, lowering the out-of-pocket expenses of Filipino families. On the other hand, the agricultural sector receives over 297 billion pesos, solidifying our commitment to modernizing supply systems and supporting farmers and fisherfolk. Crucial investments in farm-to-market roads will connect farming communities to economic hubs, reduce transportation costs, and minimize post-harvest losses. We will also transform our social protection system, moving beyond short-term relief to address systemic vulnerabilities and to promote sustained inclusive growth. Supporting this, the social services sector is provided with more than 270 billion pesos. We will prioritize social services that enhance the quality of life of every Filipino, safeguard the welfare of all sectors, and foster human capital development. Through our responsive and rationalized flagship programs, this budget aims to steer us towards achieving a single-digit poverty rate by 2028. The 2026 national budget also supports the implementation of the updated base pay schedule and increased subsistence allowance of military and uniformed personnel. This underscores our commitment to uphold the welfare of the men and women who safeguard our nation. As our uniformed personnel protect our territory, so, so we shall also serve as vanguards of public funds, ensuring the prudent use of every peso. We will strictly implement the provision on the prohibition of political involvement in the distribution of cash and other forms of financial assistance. Politicians shall be barred from the distribution of any financial aid, and we shall ensure that the support reaches the intended beneficiaries without patronage. Walang bawas, walang kulang. We will also strengthen the role of local government units to the increased allocations under the Local Government Support Fund, enabling them to address local development needs, support livelihoods, and create safe and resilient communities. I stand firm in my constitutional duty to ensure the faithful execution of laws. Therefore, I hereby condition the implementation of certain provisions in this Act to conform to existing laws, policies, rules, and regulations. These include the Quick Response Fund, the QRF, engineering and administrative overhead expenses, payment of retirement benefits and pensions, capacity development programs, and foreign service posts. Moreover, keeping in mind our pursuit of economic recovery and sustainable growth, we shall implement programs and projects in accordance with laws, rules, and regulations. These are the school-based feeding program, medical scholarship, and return service program, Pamana program, residential care services to vulnerable groups by accredited social welfare and development agencies, implementation of infrastructure projects of GOCCs, and programs and projects related to senior citizens and persons with disability. This shall ensure that these programs promote our long-term development goals. With the approval of the 2026 GAA, I acknowledge that the 2025 GAA was deemed reenacted and remained in force and effect until January the 4th, 2026. In this regard, the DBM shall consider the expenditures lawfully incurred under the reenacted budget in formulating its fund release for the guidelines of fiscal year 2026. We acknowledge the support of Congress in limiting the unprogrammed appropriations to essential needs. However, I push further and reduce it to the absolute bare minimum. This shall be at the level lowest since 2019. Let me be clear. The unprogrammed appropriations are not blank checks. We will not allow the unprogrammed appropriations to be misused or treated as a backdoor for discretionary spending. Its utilization is provided with safeguards and is only available when clearly defined triggers and tests are met and will be released only after careful validation. My administration will enforce these safeguards without exception to serve the public interest and to advance our national development goals. We will make releases charged from the UA transparent, providing the necessary details on the funding source and the corresponding purpose. Lastly, to ensure that public funds are expended in clear service of national interest, I vetoed several items of appropriations with their purposes and corresponding special provisions under the UA, totaling almost 92.5 billion pesos. So I direct now all concerned departments and agencies of the national government to exercise prudent fiscal management to ensure uninterrupted quality public service. Sa ating mga kababayan, dama po namin ang inyong agam-agam at pangamba sa nakaraang budget. Kaisa ninyo ako sa pagnanais na masiguro ang bawat pisong buwis ay mapupunta sa tamang proyekto at sa tunay na pangangailangan ng ating taong bayan. Naririnig namin po kayo. Sa national budget ng 2026, malinaw ang direksyon ng inyong pamahalaan. Magiging mas masinop, mas maingat, mas responsable kami sa paggastos ng pondo ng bayan. Ang bawat programa at proyekto ay dadaan sa masusing pagsusuri upang masiguro na ito ay may malinaw na benepisyo sa mamamayan, lalo na sa sektor na mga nahigit na nangangailangan. Magtatrabaho ang administrasyong ito upang mapabuti ang sistema, mapalakas ang pananagutan at matuldukan ang katiwalian. Sa lahat ng adhikaing ito, dalangin ko na maging katuwang namin ang bawat mamamayang Pilipino. Ang pagbabantay, ang pagtatanong, ang pag-uulat, at ang pakikilahok sa mahahalagang bahagi ng isang gumaganang demokrasya. Kasama ninyo kami sa layunin, tiyakin na ang budget ng bayan ay para sa bayan. Hindi tayo napapayag na mapunta sa kurakot ang salaping pinaghirapan ng bawat Pilipino. Sa pagharap ngayon natin sa bagong taon, nawa ang apoy na nag-aalab sa ating mga puso ay magdulot ng tunay na pagbabago tungo sa isang maunlad na kinabukasan. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipino, mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now, may we request the President to kindly grant us a group photo downstage. Likewise, we request all our attendees to gather at the center and join the President for a group photo. Ready? At the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Mr. President, for granting us a photo opportunity. That concludes our program. Thank you, Mr. President, for gracing the signing of the General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R.